Hi everyone, and this is Preeti. Today we are going to see the topic on fruitful functions in Python, and also we are going to discuss the local and global scope of the variable, and lastly we are going to discuss on function composition. Okay, let's get into the video. Now, before going into fruitful function, we should know what is a function. Function is a group of statements that perform a specific task. So, usually we'll define a function with a keyword called def, and you have a function name followed by a rounded bracket, and then you have a colon. So here you give one indentation and you write all the statements here. This is how we will define a function. So this is your function definition, and in your main program you will call this function like this: function name of rounded bracket. Once this function is called, the function will be called from here, and the program jumps to this part. It will execute the statements and come back to the main program. Okay, so this is how the function will be executed. Now today we are going to see what is fruitful function. Fruitful function is also a function that returns a value when it is called. So what do you mean by a fruitful function? So it is also a function, but it should return a value. Then it is called as a fruitful function. We will see the example. Usually we have many fruitful functions. We have built-in functions in Python, which is already defined in Python. They are POW, power, absolute, ABS, square root of. So these are all some of the examples of fruitful function which is already defined in Python. So whenever you call these functions, it will return some value. Suppose if you are going to call an absolute, so it will return immediately return a value. If you are going to call a function called square root, it will return the square root of a value. So these are all already built-in functions in Python. Now we are going to see what are all the fruitful functions that can be defined by the user. So these are all user defined fruitful function. See here, like we are defining a function with def, and we are giving the function name as area and with a parameter called radius, and it is followed by a colon. And these are the statements which is included in this area function. So we are including only one statement, that is a will be equal to math.py into radius to the power 2. So this fruitful function is returning a value. So a fruitful function will always return a value when it is called. So it is returning a area of the circle. When a radius of the circle radius is given to this function, it is finding out the value for that, and it is returning the area of the circle. So this is also one of the fruitful function. And next we will see one more the same fruitful function we can also write in single line. Here we have used two lines where we have combined these two lines into a single line like this. Instead of writing separately the calculation part and then returning a, we can write it in the single line like this: return of math.py star radius to the power 2. Okay, so this will math.py is also a fruitful function. It will return a constant value which is multiplied with the radius value which we are getting from the program into the power 2. It will calculate and it will return the value. So we can say this type of a function is called as a fruitful function. And we will see one more example. So here in all these examples, I have written only the function definition, and function call has not been written. Okay, you can write it whenever it is necessary. So here you can see this. So there is a function called def, and this is the function which is defined by the user. Name of the function is absolute underscore value, and it is accepting one argument that is called x colon. So here I am going to check whether if the value of x is lesser than 0. So inside this function I am having a if condition. If this x value is less than 0, then it is going to return minus x, else colon return x. So this is also one type of fruitful function where you have multiple return statement. So always a fruitful function is a function that will return a value to the main program when it is called. So in this program, we are going to use like absolute value. We are going to check whether the x value is lesser than 0. If it is lesser than 0, we are going to give a minus sign. We are going to include minus sign to it. If it is greater than 0, then we are leaving it as it is. Okay, so this absolute value of x will check the value of x, and it will give you return a value based whether it is lesser than 0 or it is greater than 0. So this is all about your fruitful function. So a fruitful function is a function that returns a value when it is called. So this is an example you can write when it is asked in your exams. Okay. Next comes a dead code. What do you mean by a dead code? Dead code is a part of the code which is never be executed during runtime. Those codes are called as dead code. So here, for the simple example, we can say that the code that appears after a return statement is called a dead code. So for example, we are going to define a function here. Define a function, okay, and it is having no arguments. Okay, so here I am giving a is 10 and b is 20 and c will be equal to a plus b. Okay, and then I am going to return c. Okay, here, and after which I am going to give here d is equal to d is 10. So here this is the dead code. Here in this case we have already defined here. We have already returned the value to the main program, after which you are going to write some code which is never be executed during the runtime, and this code is called as a dead code, or you can say it is an unreachable code which is never be executed by the program interpreter. So you can call it as a dead code, or it may be an unreachable code. So this is called your dead code. So whenever you write some codes which is never be executed by the program interpreter or Python interpreter, then you can say those codes are dead codes or unreachable codes. Okay, this is all about your dead codes. Next topic is scope of a variable. Always we all know that certain variables or all variables in the program what we declared, it is not accessible to all the location. Okay, they have certain restrictions. That is what a scope of the variable. Scope of the variable means it decides the portion of the program in which the variable can be accessed. There are two scopes of the variable. One will be a global scope, other one is a local scope. So global scope means if a variable declared outside the program body, that is in the main program, then it is called global scope. And what is local scope? If a variable is declared or defined inside the function, then it is called local scope. So we are going to discuss about the local scope and global scope in this video now. So before going to the examples, we will see the difference between the local variable and global variable. Local variables means if the variables are defined inside the function. So inside the function you have, okay, you are going to define the variable a is equal to 10. That means these variables are local variables. So we are defining it inside the function. And what is global variable? So these variables which are defined outside the function. So here you are going to define a is 10 and you are having a function. You are not defining it inside the function. You are defining it outside the function. Then it is called global scope. And next difference is that local variables, they will be accessed only inside the function. So if you are going to define it inside here in the function, this variable can be accessed only within this function. So if you are accessing outside the function, these variables will not be accessed. This is the main restriction in local variable. And coming to the global variable, if you have defined outside, this variable can be accessed inside the function and also outside the function. That is your second difference. And third is local variable exists within the function only. So where it is defined, it will be accessed and it will be exist only within the function. Here it will exist outside the function and it will be available to all the parts of the program. That is the difference between the local variable and global variable. Okay. Next we will see the example for global variable and local variable. So in this program, I have declared a variable called global variable and I have stored hello into it. and I'm having a function called demo of, which is inside this function I'm declaring a variable called local variable, and I'm storing this Python string into it. Okay, so now I'm going to print local variable and outside the function, and this is your function call. So the function call will call this function and it will execute. Next I'm going to print the global variable. So here you can see this global variables or variables which are defined outside the function, and local variables or variables which are defined inside the function. So this local variable will be used or accessed only within this function. You cannot access this local variable outside the function. If suppose if you are going to use this local variable outside the function, it will give you an error. But this global variable can be accessed inside the function and also outside the function. So when you see the output for this program, so here since the demo of is called, so here the demo function is called, we are seeing this definition of the program, and now this Python we are going to store it into a local variable, and I'm going to print this local variable. So you'll get Python word on screen, and after which you are going to print the global variable. So the global variable already we have stored hello, and this hello is printed on screen. Okay. Now we are going to see several examples for this local scope and global scope. So in this example, we are going to read the global variable inside the local scope. Okay, so here this is a global variable, p is 100, and we are having a function demo of. Inside the function I'm defining a variable called q, and this is a local variable which I'm going to store 125, and I'm going to print q and print p. So I can able to access this global variable from the local scope. This is the heading of this example. So reading global variable from a local scope. So I can able to access both the local variable inside the function, and I'm also able to access this global variable also. So the demo function is called, and then I'm going to print p. So when you are executing this program, so first this demo function will be called, and the program will go, the control will go here, and it will store 125 into q, and print of q will print 125 on screen. Next line it will print p. P is already having a value 100, so 100 will be printed, and after which the program, the function control will comes back to the main program, and last it will print again p. So now it will print 100. So this is what the output you will get when you execute this program. Okay, so here we have seen how to read the global variable inside the local function. Now we are going to see one more example where a local variables cannot be used in global scope. So in this program you can see the same demo function is used. Inside the function I'm defining a variable called q 125. So this is your local variable here. Okay, and I'm going to print q, and you have a function called demo of and print of q. So in this program what I have done is that I'm going to access the local variable outside the function. So here demo function is called, the function will go here, and the program control will execute this line, q is 125, print of q will print 125. So when it comes outside, now I'm going to access this local variable outside the function. Now when you write this program, you will get an error because you have tried to access the local variable outside the function. This q does not exist once you come outside the function. This q variable exists only within this function body alone. If you come outside and try to access this variable, it will give you an error. Okay, this is what the output you'll get. You'll get an error when you execute this program. Okay. Next example, we are going to see what happens if both the local and global variables are having the same name. Okay, we will see the example for that. So here I have defined a demo function, which inside the demo function I'm declaring a variable called q, and I'm going to store a word welcome to Python into a variable called q. And I'm going to, next line, I'm going to print q. So coming back to the main program, here also I'm declaring the same variable outside the function. Q is I love Python. So here you can see that both the local variable and the global variable are declared with the same name, Q. Okay, so now when it is executed, when this program is executed, first the control will go here. It will not go and execute the function it will go to the next line of the function. So q will be equal to I love Python. Next I'm going to call a function. So this function will be called, and here I'm going to store welcome to Python here in q and print of q. Print of q will print welcome to Python on screen. So coming back to the program, the main program, next line it prints q. So when you print q here outside the function body, so this q will not store welcome to Python, but here q it has stored I love Python here. So the output, what will you get when you execute this program will be welcome to Python and I love Python. So when the variable which is which you are going to use the same variable name for both the local and also the global, but outside the body it will take the global variable, but inside the function it will take the local variable. Okay. Next we will see the example for when you want to change the global variable inside the function, what will you do? So this is the case when this is one of the case you want to do it in your program. When you want to change the global variable inside the function. So in that case, what you have to do is that, so we will see the example. So in this, p is 100. So this is your global variable. Okay. This is your global variable, and inside the function I am going to declare it once again. I am telling that I want to change this variable. So I am writing global. I am going to use this p here, the same variable name here, and now I am going to change the value of it. Initially it was 100. Now I am going to change it to 125. So I am going to print this inside function called p. Now this is your main program demo of printer. So when you execute this, initially it will store globally p is 100. So now when demo function is called, the control will go here and it is going to change the value from 100 to 125. So it will print inside the function comma 125 on screen. So when you come outside also, the value will be stored. What you have changed will be updated. So when you print outside the function p also, you will get the same value. It is not the value which you have stored outside. 100 will not be displayed. It will be displayed the same value what you have updated inside the function. So what happens? So when you want to change the global variable inside the function, then you have to use this line, this statement. This statement says that I am going to change the value of the variable, value of the global variable. That is why I am mentioning it inside the function global p. So once if you change any variations or any updations if you do in that global variable, will also be updated outside also. So when you print this p, you will get the same value which has been updated inside your function 125. So both the values inside the function also 125, outside the function also 125. So this is all about your local and global variables. So what is local and global variable? Local variables or variables which are declared and accessed only within your function body. And global variables or variables which are defined and accessed outside the function body, we can call it as a global variable. So we have seen so many examples for this, that is like how to read a global variable from a local scope, and then we have seen how the local variables cannot be used in global scope. Third example we have seen, for both the local and global variables are having the same name. And fourth is when you want to change the global variable inside the function, what statement you have to include. So these are the examples we have seen for local and global variables. Next we are going to see the return statement in function. So we know that in a function, from a function you can return some value to the main program. So we will see how we can use this return statement in a function. So in this example is going to find out the maximum of two numbers. So this is your function definition, and your main program starts from your print of maximum of 50, 150. So the function will be called, so here 50 will be passed, A will contain a value called 50 and B will contain a value called 150 now. So what we are going to do is, so you are going to compare A and B and you are going to print the maximum value and return the maximum value to the main program. So here if A is greater than B, colon, return A. So if A is greater, you are going to return A. Else if B is greater, you are going to return B. Else you are going to return both are equal. So here this example shows how to use return statement in function. So you can also use multiple return statement, but you should use if. In that case, if condition is necessary, if or else is necessary, in that case. Okay, this is how you have to use your return statement in functions. Okay, so the next example is one more example where we have used only one return statement. So the program starts from here. T will be equal to add of 20 comma 30. So the function, the control will go here and you are going to pass this values into it. A will contain a value 20 and B will contain a value 30. So now you are going to add A plus B and you are going to store it in total and you are going to return the total. So the total value will be returned back to the main program. So here the value, the total contain is 50. So 50 will be returned. When it is returning, you have to store it into a variable. So now I am going to store it into a variable called T. Now T will contain 50 and when you print this T, you will get the output on screen. Okay, this is how you have to return. When it's returning, you can get into a variable and you can print, or otherwise you can write like this, like you can use one single statement, print, you can print, or otherwise you can get into a variable and then print that value. Okay, the next example we are going to see is returning multiple values. So in this case, in all these examples, the last two examples, we have seen only one return statement, multiple return statement, but it is returning only one value. But now we are going to see the example of returning multiple values. So here in this program, we try to find out the square and cube of a number. Okay, so the main program starts from here. S comma C will be equal to compute of 2. Compute is a function name which has been given and it is accepting only one argument. So the function will go here, compute, and num will have the value 2. Okay, so now 2 into 2, it will be square will be stored as 4. 2 into 2 into 2, it is 8. Cube value is 8. So when you want to return multiple value, you can write like this, return of square comma cube. So it is going to return two values. One is square value and it is cube value, that is 8. So when it is returning, you should get into the two variables. So square will be stored in S and cube will be stored in 8. So S will contain 4 and cube will contain 8. So when you print S comma C, it will display the value 4 and 8. So these are the examples of how to use your return statement in your program. The last topic in today's video is function composition. Function composition is a way of combining two or more functions. So if you are going to combine two or more functions, then it is called function composition. So here what it will do is that, so you are going to execute this function composition in such a way that output of one function becomes the input of the second function. That is called the function composition. So we can call one function from within another function. This is called a function composition. So you can also tell in another way, it is combining two or more functions. Okay, or you can say that the output of one function will become the input of the second function. Okay, so for this I can give you an example, def add of x. Okay, so here I am going to return x plus 2. Okay, and I am having one more function, def multiply of x. Here I am going to return x star 2. Okay, x plus 2, here the first function is going to add plus 2 and second function is going to multiply 2. Okay, in your main program, I am going to write like this, print of multiply of add of 5. Okay, so this is your function composition. This is your function composition. So what happens is, you are going to write a function inside one more function. You are going to call a function inside another function. So first add of 5 will be called. So this function will be called, x will have the value 5. 5 plus 2, it will return a value 7 now. So this function, the output of this function becomes the input of another function. So what is the input you are giving for the multiply? 7. Now 7 will be sent to this second function. Now 7 into 2, it will be 14. So at last 14 will be the output for this. So this is called a function composition. So you are going to call a function from within another function is called as function composition. So output of one function will be taken as the input of the second function. So in this case, add of 5 will be called, it will execute and it will return the value. You are getting the answer called 7, and this 7 multiply of 7 will be sent again, and 7 into 2 it will be 14. 14 will be considered as the output. Now we will see one more example. Here I have executed, I have used a mathematical function called square root. So I have imported a module called math module. Import math def distance of x1 y1 x2 y2 colon, return math dot square root of x1 minus x2 to the power 2 plus y1 minus y2 to the power 2. So this function is going to find out the distance between the 2 points x1 y1 and x2 y2 is given. You can find out the difference by square root of x1 minus x2 the whole square plus y1 minus y2 the whole square. Next is area. So area function is going to find out the area of the circle, that is pi r square, 3.14 into r square. That is your, this function is going to return. Now on the main program I am writing print area of distance of 3, 0, 4, 0. So what this function will do, first the distance function will be called, and this function x1 will have the value 3 and y1 will be 0, x2 is 4 and y2 is 0. So now it will find out the square root distance between the 2 points. It will return the distance, after which I am going to call the area with that output. Okay, so now after which you will get the output, and the output will be printed on screen. So this is also one more example for your function composition. It is not that you have to write the same example in your exams. You can write your own examples also. So in this video you have learned how to use function composition, and you have learned on local and global variable, the difference between the local variable, and we have seen so many examples for declaring the local variable and global variables, and we have also discussed on fruitful functions. Okay, so these are all the topics we have discussed in this video. Thank you for watching.